we keep hearing that Rishi and James Cleverly now, they've got to sort this out because there could be a backbench revolt. There's this group, the New Conservatives. They're nipping at the heels of Mr Sunak. But how many aren't? How many Tory MPs will not like this policy?
Yeah,
they'll listen to this and go, what's he doing?
There'll be a few, and it's interesting, actually. That question is a really, really good one in terms of who's in favour and who isn't. And what is the right of the Conservative Party? There's about 5 different factions. There's a New Conservatives you mentioned there with Miriam Cates and Danny Kruger, two very vocal backbench
New
MPs.
one with Keir Starmer.
Indeed. You've got all sorts of different people. You've got Sarah Braverman, where is she in relation to them? You've got other people who want to be perhaps the next leader as well, or alternatively, or just think differently, just have a different outlook. So there are about 5 different factions of the Tory right. You can't just say the right of the Conservative Party because it's not one cohesive thing. And that shows yet again how divided the Conservative Party is. You've got a lot of people, certainly on the left of the Conservatives, the sort of one nation, people like Robert Buckland, for example, the former Justice Secretary, who will say, look, we absolutely cannot withdraw from the European Convention on Human Rights. Other people on the right of the party saying, well, why? Why can't we withdraw from the European Convention on Human Rights? And divided parties do not win elections. What Rishi Sunak and James Cleverly are trying to do right now is to unite the Conservative Party. I think that's impossible at this point in the electoral cycle, but they're absolutely going to try to do it.
Robert, we spoke about this about 15 minutes ago. It's all very well sorting this bit out. This is legal migration, of course, not to be confused with illegal migration. And even the illegal migration, some people say, is not technically illegal by blah, blah. The channel crossings, because that's another... The optics are horrendous on this because we see it all the time. Boats coming across, mostly fit young men getting out of boats and coming to our shores, getting, well, not even processed, but marked off a list, put into a hotel. We've got 167,000 backlog in this respect. I mean, it's a ludicrous situation. So Rishi Sunak might have a good day today, but his battles are certainly not over on this one.
And we know how big a deal that is, because all this talk of a spring election, partly at least, is to avoid all the headlines about illegal immigration next summer.
In the summer, when the weather's good.
Yeah, get before then, and you don't have those horrible headlines. So we know this is another big deal. They're twin issues, and both need to be sorted out. Today's the first step on that journey to sorting out these issues.
He does say, Peter, doesn't he, that small boats have reduced.
We've gone down by about a third, certainly. Now, some people say the weather is to do with that. Also, it's the winter time, so fewer people will be coming across because the channel will be even colder. We know, as many people in the north of England, of course, know, it's incredibly cold at the moment. And someone died in a car the other day, a homeless man. So those crossings will happen less in the channel over the next little while. The calculation for Rishi Sunak is, does he go for an election over the summer? Personally, I don't think he will. Or is it after the summer when there will be more boats coming across? Because unless he somehow has some massive plan, lots of suggestions, I know from TalkTV viewers and listeners over the weeks and months we've been talking about this in terms of how to stop them, but unless something radical happens, those boats are still going to come. It's basically impossible to stop the boats under the plan that Rishi Sunak has at the moment anyway, and he will be judged on that pledge. On the 4th of January, he said, judge me in a year's time. I'm going to, 3 words, stop the boats. And he hasn't, and he's not going to.
But, you know, coming up next election, assuming it's not pre-summer, it's post, so you think after, 2025, you think he's going to go that far?
No, I think October, November 2024.
Right, okay. Just in time for Christmas.
Just in time for Christmas. I think that they're going to avoid the next Christmas. They're going to avoid the American election. Obviously, that will dominate the news coverage, and news coverage is very important in election time. My prediction, and I'm usually wrong, would be that they go to Conservative Party conference, and on the last day, on his speech as Conservative Party leader, Rishi Sunak says, we're going for an election. That allows him to be Prime Minister for 2 years, and it gets the election about the latest you can. In theory, he could go for January 2025, but the problem is things happen. The last time, there was a time when an election had to be moved because of foot and mouth, for example. Stuff pops up, so you want to have a little bit of a buffer zone.
Yeah. So who's going to be in checkers next Christmas? Will it be Keir?
I think it'll be the Starmer family.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
But if he can come out with those headlines, if he can say and demonstrate, look, we've addressed the legal issue, these numbers, which were 745,000, look, we've got the new data in. It's 400,000. It's clear we've nearly halved it. If he can say, look, the channel migrant situation, it's been rubbish. I didn't create this, but I inherited the problem. But I've halved it.
But he's never said any of that.
But if he can do that,
well, he could. But the point is, he's never said that. He's never said, do you know what? I don't really like the Rwanda policy. I don't really think it's going to work. I inherited it from Boris Johnson. Therefore, the Supreme Court have said it's rubbish. I'm going to abandon it. That's one thing he could have done. But he's saying, I'm going, full force into this. Also, the Conservative Manifesto in 2019 on the legal side said we'll get it down to under 250,000. It's nearly 3 times that. Are they going to turn that around in less than a year? I think that's a tall order, Ian.